freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Love ain't the same on the south side of town. You could look, but you ain't gonna find it around. It's the same old story, same old song and dance, my friend. It's the same old story, same old story, same old song and dance.
Yeah, it's the same. Soon as you start finding a way out of it, they change the law on you. You know, because it's all, what's the law there to do? To protect the lawmakers and to protect let me tell you who a lawmaker is. The guy that gets the legislators to make law. That's a lawmaker. They just insulated. They just have somebody in front of them doing their business for them. That's just how it works. Okay, now, Stuart, there have been some changes in the law regarding real estate. You know, get us up to date, man. Tell us what's up.
Well, I think the most significant thing that has happened today has been the change in the estate tax, which is probably the most horrible tax out there, the death tax.
Okay, now let's go ahead and before we get there, let's go ahead and talk about how it is that you are involved in this. Now, we transition from what we were talking about before with realtycrisis.com. We have Stuart Vener on. He's from Wilshire Holding. Now, you also do financial planning. Is that how you're involved in this?
No, I am a financial consultant here and actually in England as well. I have a lot of clients over there. But, I have to be kind of aware of changes, and a lot of these changes, when I mentioned the estate tax, has to do with real estate and with real property. And there's been some very difficult changes going on right now.
Okay, I apologize for interrupting. I just want to make sure everybody knew who you were in this segment. Go ahead and tell us what's what.
Well, it would have been good to have died last year, but considering that didn't happen, if you're still listening to the show, everything is different now.
Okay. Assuming that it would have been better for your heirs to die last year.
Yes.
Okay. So you made it. Okay. Now your heirs are going, oh, man, Dad, you should have just kicked it last year. So what has changed?
Well, what has happened now is last year the death tax was at 0. Now we're back to 35%. They have raised the exemption to $5 million for individuals. 10 million for married couples. That sounds like a lot of money, but in the long run, that really isn't. I mean, there's a lot of people that own real estate that have small businesses, companies that they want to pass on to their children, to their heirs. And another thing that they've done, which is very bad, is you're reevaluating your assets, the current value. Now, real estate is at its lowest possible point right now. I mean, it's been in years. I mean, we're half of what it was years ago. So they've had to step the basis down to the current market value. And if you're planning on living, 6, 8, 10 years more, it's going to pass a big burden on in tax burden to your heirs. Everyone that has trusts, living trusts, there can be clauses in there that are completely negated by the subtle changes in the law. They have to go to their financial planner.
Okay, so people that have tried to anticipate this and create trust to be able to pass on their wealth and their businesses and so on to the next generation may need to get an update because they're changing that.
Yes, they do, and not just an update. You can't just change a document. You may have to actually revoke it and reestablish a new one. I mean, there's things that have to be done that really would hurt you more than anything.
Well, 35%, seriously, from 0 to I have a business. I build, we have a lot of friends that have businesses. They do auto parts or they deal in transmissions or they have landscaping, a business that is, quite large. They have, easily go over 5 million, even 10 million. And they want to pass this on to the next generation. That was always their intention. This is for my kids and grandkids, and the government steps up and goes, oh, yeah? Well, you made too much freaking money. 35% of it is ours now, you rich fat cat. I mean, is that basically what's going on?
That's what's going on, and even if you take it a step farther, I mean, we're in a stage in this country where we need to create jobs, we need to recover, create employment, and there's no incentive if you can't pass it on.
No, I'm hip to that.
Creates it all. I mean, it's a terrible thing that they've created here. and it's only going to get worse the way it's going. There is a little bit of a window. For a year and a half, you can save a little money in the gift tax. Till the end of 2012, it's a good time to kind of, if you can, or if you trust your kids, to transfer a little bit to them.
Okay, how a little bit? What are we talking about here?
Oh, no, I mean, you can transfer money up to $5 million right now to your children.
Okay, with no taxable event.
Very small, insignificant.
Okay, you hear that, kids? You need to get me $5 million so I can send it to you. Okay, so how would that impact someone that's surviving a spouse that has passed on this year as compared to last year?
Well, that has to be rethought, too. You have to really go see your attorney or whoever prepared your trust and have it completely checked and redone and fixed to meet the current guidelines, because it's going to be different for the spouse. The remaining used to have remainder assets going into a trust, and that really can't be done like that anymore. It can actually end up costing them more money than the intent was really there. It's not, you have to really check it over. I really caution people to be very careful about that.
Well, give me some horror stories. I mean, I can imagine right now you have someone, they had it, everything's cool. Last year, even a few months ago, man, they're styling. We got it all taken care of. Then it's, New Year's Eve and they're partying, getting it on, grandma and grandpa are having a good old time, and all of a sudden he grabs his chest and he falls after midnight, and he's in 2010, and they weren't ready. What happened that was different? Give me a horror case scenario.
Well, just what you said. I mean, he has this thing on New Year's Eve, and he dies in 2011. And all of the planning that he made to pass everything on tax-free to his children and to his wife is gone, and they're going to be paying over a third of that to the government.
Who made this law? Who made the change? Who was the sponsor? Which government? Who signed on to this thing? When did this happen?
This is the Democrats. I mean, they completely, if they wouldn't extend Bush's tax cut. It went to zero, and all they had to do was sign the extension, and there would be no death tax. And that is the worst tax of all. I mean, there's no more horrible tax, I feel, than that.
It's not only certainty to have death and taxes, but a death tax. Okay. So I'm and the reasoning, of course, was they wanted more money, but it's more than that. My estimation has been over the years, I could see there was some statistics that we did in the late 90s. I remember we were doing some activism and running for office and that kind of thing. And we looked at it and we go, there is a vast transfer of wealth from older Americans and the baby boomers that over the next 10 years, from then, 20 years, there was going to be the largest transfer of wealth from one generation to the next ever. And the government knew it. And they saw it and they said, ooh, we got to get our fingers on that one. So I'm going, and their whole goal is, in my estimation, their goal is to protect our rights, our liberty, our property, our lives. They're getting their fingers in at the very time that we worked an entire life to build something to give to the next generation of people that we choose, our family, our children, and they take it away. More about it and how they're doing it and who did it when we come back with Stuart Vener in just a little bit on Declare Your Independence.